"Why are there empty patches in your potato field, Mr. Royston?" I asked. "That's the beauty of the pockets, Grant," he replied. "Pockets?" I asked. The wrinkled, sun-kissed farmer offered a wry smile and nodded. He had always been an odd fellow, but I had a gut-twisting feeling that my town had changed drastically during the 3 years that I'd been away. A thought confirmed by Mr. Royston when he pulled something from the right-hand pocket of his denim jeans. A healthy handful of seed potatoes. "This year I had a bad bunch," he said, "but I turned it into a good bunch." I don't follow," I said. Mr. Royston chuckled gruffly. "No, I don't suppose you would. About 4 months ago, pockets sprouted all over town. Holes in the ground." "Holes?" I asked. The old farmer nodded. "Aye, holes. They give you whatever you want. When my potatoes went bad, I put them in one of the pockets. They came out shiny and new, straight from the pockets of my denim jeans." I smiled politely, made my excuses, and went on my way. Mr. Royston's house was the first one I passed on my walk from the bus stop, so I hadn't wanted to be rude when he called from the gate, but I was eager to get going. He always had some bizarre tale to tell. What I hadn't expected was that everybody else would be talking about pockets too. "Found one in my back garden," Frank said. "I put £1 in there, and £50 appeared in my dressing gown pocket." "Is everybody playing a prank on me?" I asked. "I know I committed the greatest sin by moving to the city. You don't have to gang up on me." "No, it's true," Frankie protested. "I wouldn't tease you, Grant." "I know why you left." "Show me," I said. "Let's see this pocket in your garden." "Oh, no, it doesn't work that way," my friend explained. "They come and go." Either everybody in town had collectively lost their marbles, or they'd collaborated on the world's dullest prank. I wasn't sure which option I preferred, but I knew what I didn't want to do. Head home. That's the reason I left my town at the age of 22. I stuck around to look after my mother and sister, but I couldn't stand by as she tolerated my stepfather's abuse. 3 years of growing guilt had finally brought me back home, but I expected my mother to tell me that Ronnie was a good man. I expected her to tell me that he had changed. That isn't what happened. "Your mum has left," Ronnie said. "What? What? Left her childhood home? Left it to you?" I scoffed. "Where's she gone, Ronnie?" "Don't get lippy with me, boy," my stepfather growled. Suddenly, I was a kid again, staring into the eyes of a giant. A monstrous man with hollow eyes and predatory fangs. But he was just a man. I tried to remind myself of that. "She couldn't change her ways," Ronnie continued, shrugging. "Always jabbering, letting her eyes wander, and showing off her goods for everyone in town." I clenched my fists in fury, and Ronnie smiled wickedly, waiting for me to take the bait. "Where's Claire?" I asked, changing the subject. Ronnie's face dropped. Your sister's in the garden. You can't stay the night, you know." "I wasn't planning on that," I spat. I shoved past the horrible man and headed through the house to the garden. The cogs in my head were turning. Why would Mum abandon her daughter? She loved both of us. She begged me not to leave. "Grant!" Claire cried, embracing me. "Hey, Munchkin," I said, wiping a tear from my eye. "Where's Mum?" Claire's face shifted, and she shook her head. Ronnie says Mum left us, but I don't believe him. How long has she been gone? I asked. About a month, Claire replied. And I think it's got something to do with, well, follow me. My sister led me into the woods behind our house, and we barely walked 30 yards before I finally saw what everybody had been discussing. A chasm of dirt in the centre of a wooded clearing, except it was more than that. The pocket, as everybody called it, had no end. It was a ceaseless cavern. What's happening? I asked. Claire sniffled. People say pockets disappear after a few days or so, but this one's been here since last month, since Mum went missing, and it just keeps growing. I could barely register what my little sister was saying. I was struggling to fathom how something so endless, so gargantuan, could have emerged in the heart of a sleepy, nowhere town. I still wanted to believe the pocket to be nothing more than a hole, an explainable anomaly, but I realised there was only one way to find out. I dipped a hand into the pocket of my jeans, pulled out my phone, and hurled it into the abyss. My sister didn't utter a word. She understood what I was doing. She knew that I had to see it for myself, and I did. Seconds later, I felt a weightiness return to my pocket. Inside, I found a far superior phone to my old one. It was a miracle that other people had described with glee, but it filled me with terror. An endless pocket of terror in my body, as if the joy had been drained from my soul. Whatever the true nature of the holes that the townspeople called pockets, I knew it couldn't be anything good. Despite Ronnie's protests, I stood my ground and firmly stated that I would be staying the night. He reluctantly agreed, but he explained that he'd turned my old bedroom into a study space, so I'd have to sleep on the sofa. Around 2 a.m, a sudden sound startled me. Rustling. I sleepily sat up and turned on a lamp. The warm, muted, orange glow illuminated Ronnie's coat in the corner of the room. It was draped over the back of a chair rocking of its own accord. My breathing quickened as I watched the coat wriggle, as if some creature were trapped in the bunched up mound of fabric. And then a terrifying thing happened. An arm wormed out of the coat pocket. The limp limb was swiftly joined by a head, torso, and legs. It formed a ghoulish, spectral woman, dressed in a black, hooded robe. I screamed when I saw her face. Mum. But not Mum at all. Her eyes were empty sockets, stained with blood and unidentifiable mush. Her mouth, on the other hand, was non-existent. Skin covered the space that her lips should have occupied. And then the horror made sense. Always jabbering. So he removed her mouth. Eyes wandering. So he removed those too. Showing off her goods. So he draped her in a black, formless robe. I blubbered uncontrollably at the disfigured demon before me. I don't know what those pockets do, but I know that wasn't my mum. Not anymore. She howled within her sealed face and lurched towards me. I shrieked, fleeing the room and bounding up the stairs as the black-robed shape pursued me. "Claire!" I screamed. "Claire!" Bumping sounds emanated from my sister's room, and she hurriedly opened the door to see what had horrified me. Claire screamed at the deformed woman who crept along the landing towards us. "Mum?" my sister whimpered. "Not anymore," a voice responded. My sister and I swiveled our heads to face Ronnie, a monster terrifying enough in human form. "What did you do to her?" Claire wailed. "I fixed her," our stepfather whispered, creeping towards us. "That's why the pockets are here, children. Not for fools and their riches, but for us. For me." The abomination and his creation, a warped replica of our mother, crept towards us. Both ends of the hallway were blocked. No escape. "This way," I said, shoving Claire back into her room and locking the door behind us. "You wretches!" Ronnie roared, pounding on the door. "I won't put you two in the pocket. Oh no, you don't deserve that. I'll dig 2 holes for you. The real kind." "What now?" Claire shakily stuttered between sobs. I pointed at her bedroom window, and my sister's eyes widened. She vigorously shook her head. I gripped her hand and nodded, gently leading her towards the window and sliding it open. The wood of her bedroom door was starting to splinter. Ronnie was battering it with something. My little sister and I plummeted to the thick shrubbery below the window, and we ran into the night. That was several weeks ago. I haven't been able to sleep since. I took Claire back to the city with me. Neither of us want to face what happened, what is still happening in that town. I just wish there were a way to save what is left of our mother.